Hey everyone, welcome in. It's me, your boy, Nathan. I'm joined by Malik. Say hi.
Hey everybody. Hey.
I'm also joined by Kurtis. Say hi.
Hello everybody, thank you for joining us.
And we are 3 Peas in a Podcast.
He is eating that microphone. So, the MCU blew up a couple years ago. Everyone was big fans. I think it's the biggest, widest net that this kind of culture has ever reached. Most people have favorite superheroes now. And mine personally are Daredevil. I hope Disney treats it right in the new series. But I also like Nightcrawler. They're very similar in a lot of ways. They have a lot of internal fighting with their religion, should they kill, that kind of stuff. And I just find that very interesting. Internal conflict always makes for a good character. And also, Daredevil gets to hang out with Spider-Man, and Spider-Man's also amazing.
That's what they call him. The Amazing Spider-Man.
It's
Love
true.
Spidey.
It's true.
Love
I
Spidey.
also will put on the record, haven't read any comics. This conversation isn't going to be just about the MCU, but I am not a comic reader. I am almost exclusively a movie watcher or, TV series watcher.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at. I've not really sat down and read any of the comics either. I'm TV watcher, movie watcher.
I do like The Incredibles, or the Invincible series, not The Incredibles. Incredibles are good too, honestly.
Yeah.
But Invincible Season 3 just came out, and I haven't watched it yet, and I am so hyped for it.
I've heard good things about that series, really good things about
It's
it.
a good adult, gritty take on superheroes, but not like The Boys where it's just vulgar to be vulgar. It's like, what if Superman was bad? And, the ramifications of that. Malik, who's your favorite?
Well, are we speaking strictly MCU?
No, absolutely not.
Okay. Well, if you know me, I daily wear a Green Lantern ring. So,
True.
if we're going to talk about favorite superheroes, definitely Green Lantern is at the top of my list. But if we're talking about the MCU, I have to go with Storm of, what is she? X-Men?
Yes, she's an ex-woman.
Ex-woman. Ex-person. Because Storm has just always been one of my favorite people. I don't know why I love her so much. Weather manipulation, being able to cause a hurricane. But as I was saying in our pre-recording talk, even before she became a Marvel Rivals, even before Marvel Rivals was even thought about, Storm has been my favorite, one of my favorite Marvel characters. But now that she is in a video game, I play her often. I really like her. She's a great character. So yeah, that's my input.
My two. I don't know. That's tough. It's really tough. I'm gonna go with 3. DC. I love Batman. Love him. I love the gritty. I love the dark, tragic backstory. Doesn't have powers but can whoop anyone and everyone's ass. Love it. Batman is a fucking G. Wolverine. Love Wolverine. I don't know what it is. Dude's super cool. Like the whole I'm going to kick your ass mentality. You're never going to win. I'm always going to persevere and do better. One little thing I know from the comics from something my dad told me is he was beaten all the way down to a single drop of blood, and his healing factor kicked in and completely made him again from a drop of blood. So that was a cool thing for Wolverine. And love Spider-Man. Love Spider-Man. I think, he has had such a rough life. You would think he'd become the villain, but he doesn't. He always is out there to help. He's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Even some of the toughest villains that he's had to fight, he's still trying to help them. He's not beating them to beat them. He's trying to help them do better, make better of themselves, return to what was once them. And I just think that's really cool. He's a very unique hero in that sense. Same thing for Batman. I think Batman, his whole not killing thing and just constantly putting people in Arkham to, get better doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But, he does try to do the same thing as well. And I think that's really cool for heroes. They're not just there to kill you for doing the wrong. They're going to try to make you better.
Yeah. That's why I like Daredevil. Like, the third season of the Netflix Daredevil series is peak cinema to me. It brings in the Punisher, and there's a good conflict between the Punisher wanting to kill people and Daredevil being like, no, killing is still wrong. And it's just absolutely beautiful. You gave your top 3 and had someone from the DC universe. I should probably add Dick Grayson's Nightwing is one of my favorites. I actually, for my birthday 2 years ago, one of my friends made art of me as Dick Grayson, and it's right next to my bed. He's a fantastic character. Grew up watching the original Teen Titans series. Like, I love Teen Titans. Growing up, didn't like Robin as much. Like, he was cool and all, but I wanted to be Beast Boy because, honestly, I think being able to communicate or turn into animals is such a cool ability.
Oh, yeah. Beast Boy's an amazing character in the Teen Titans. I also like Cyborg, too.
Yeah,
Cyborg
he had a really
lot of
cool
cool
arc.
moments. I like, I think there's, like, one episode from the original Teen Titans where, like, a child with, like, a prosthetic arm comes up to him and is like, I'm just like you. And he's like, he said something about, like, it's what's inside that matters. And he was, like, talking about his heart and how they both had a heart. I thought that was a cool little moment.
Yeah. They did a lot of, the original Teen Titans did a lot of good, like, race commentary. There's an episode where he talks about being a cyborg, and the lead up to it, it's been a while since I've watched it, so I could be misquoting it, but he's got an internal, like, conflict, and somebody thinks it's about his race, and it's about him not being human, basically. And it could be the other way around. I'm not 100% sure. But I remember even as, like, a kid watching that being like, dang, this is a deep episode for kids.
Yeah.
And, like, the newer Teen Titans just don't get into it that way. And it's so sad because the complexity of the first Teen Titans series, like the early 2000s one, was so good.
It was.
Is there another Teen Titans series other than Go, or is it just Go running?
I think just the newer, like, kidified Teen Titans Go is running right
Yeah.
now. Well, that probably isn't even going anymore.
I'm
Probably
fairly
is, yeah.
certain it is. Like, it's one of their most popular shows.
They're
It-
really
It's because
milking
Teen
it.
Titans are great.
It is. They are. I'm not gonna lie. Some of the Teen Titans Go episodes, they are pretty freaking funny. Like, because they have, like, DC superhero humor with it sometimes. Like, Batman will just show up to the tower sometimes, and he's just there like, what? What the fuck are you guys doing?
I feel like they had to add that in there because they were probably running out of ideas. Because all of a sudden, all these superheroes, like, they had Superman. Well, they started with doing, like, basketball people, LeBron James, stuff like that.
What?
I think The Undertaker was in an episode or something like that. So I think they were like, well, what do we do now? And they were like, well, let's bring Superman, Batman.
They Fortnited Teen Titans Go.
That's crazy. I do like the DC series. I think their animated series are really good. Young Justice is an amazing series. I think there's like 4 or 5 seasons of it, but they're like spread out across multiple years. They had gaps in between. It's real weird, but fantastic series if you guys want to get into, like, the DC universe. They've just not been very good with movies. MCU took off with movies and, like, made superhero movies amazing, and then kind of dwindled a little bit more recently, but, like, up to Endgame was, like, peak cinema, the most I've ever seen anyone watch anything superhero related. And now with some of the newer stuff, they're retconning and adding back in even earlier stuff. So, like, now with Daredevil or Deadpool 3, X-Men's, like, 2001 or 2003 movie is now canon, and, like, the Blade trilogy is now canon, which is funny because now Ryan Reynolds has played, like, 3 or 4 different characters in the MCU. And like it's amazing. I love it so much. But should we transition into specific superpowers?
Yeah.
What's your go-to, like if you could pick one, would be your superpower?
For me, gotta go with Storm, weather manipulation, atmokinesis, I think.
Oh, there's like a fancy term for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm going to go with money. Love money.
The old Iron Man, Batman superpower.
Yes. Like, all your problems you can solve, you just throw a couple milli at it. Like,
Honestly, my favorite scene from one of the Iron Man movies, he's about to like crash into a skyscraper, and he's like, Jarvis, buy that building.
what's the fucking... There's like a line between him and Captain America where he's like, Iron Man pretty much goes, you would be nothing without my father's serum. And then Captain America tries to clap back, and he walks away saying, like, I'm a millionaire, playboy, something. And just walks out of the room. Doesn't even give a fuck. He's like, fuck you. I got money.
Yeah, it's kind of a... He has a good character arc, because he definitely, like, was a shitty little rich boy. And, like, even in the DC universe, there's a Green Arrow. Oliver, whatever his name is a shitty rich kid too.
That's so cool. I like those kind of stories. Like, even Batman. Batman's like a billionaire, but he wasn't that shitty little rich kid. I mean, maybe early on. I remember there's a scene from Gotham where he walks into a party and the people are like, well, you're not invited here. And he was like, I'm not invited to my own house. And the kid's like, your house? And the butler walks in and he's like, Master Wayne, can I get you anything? And he's like, I just bought it. Just buys the mansion from this kid.
That's amazing. Yeah, no, honestly, money is probably the best superpower, because, like, regardless of the fantasy setting, you're always going to be one of the most powerful people. Like, everyone's got superpowers. Money's still the best, because now you're running everything. Nobody has superpowers, and the government's going to hunt you for superpowers. Like, congratulations, you're just Jeff Bezos. Like, nobody's coming after you for that.
Fucking Batman, there was like a episode of the Justice League where it was Superman's birthday and everyone's bringing presents and Wonder Woman's giving Batman shit because he wrote him a check, but it was a check for like $1 million. He's like, here, happy birthday. This is what I can get you. I'm too busy. Millie.
That's crazy. I think either super speed or time manipulation would be mine. Like, I think money's great, but being able to control time, like, you can't ever get time back.
True.
Like, either being able to, like, do things super fast, like, oh man, gotta go to work, I'm at work. Or, man, it'd be really nice to be in Europe, I'm in Europe. So, like, either teleportation, time manipulation, or super speed. One of those three that just, like, peak efficiency. But, like, depends on how sci-fi you're getting with it, because, like, super speed seems the least useful, because in most scenarios you would rather just want to teleport for a distance. But, like, if I'm in a fight, reaction time speed would be better. So I'm not sure. But, like, objectively, flight is an overrated ability, because I have no need to fly when I can just either run super fast or just teleport. Like, if I just do a bunch of little teleports, I'm basically flying anyways.
That makes sense. That does make sense, because I was going to ask you, wouldn't that technically be the same? One is instantaneous, yes, but at the same time, you're still getting somewhere fast.
Yeah, I think if it's like, I want a trip to Europe, or like, there's a scene in Invincible where he like flies to Italy and buys a pizza and flies back. That pizza is like cold.
Yeah.
There's no
Ice.
way.
Ice.
Like, with the wind from flying, like, nobody wants that pizza anymore, buddy. Like, there's probably like a bird in that box now because you just like flew through a flock of geese. Like, flying is overhyped. And like, they're always like, ooh, I'll pick up this cute girl and fly her to Italy and blah blah blah. It's like, okay,
She's dead.
Teleport. Yeah, either you're like giving her whiplash, or like her skin falls off because of like wind chill. Like, absolutely not. You have to have some sort of, like, super resilience with flight also. Like, if you only get one superpower, you're flying at, like, 30 miles an hour max. You stick your arm out the window going down the highway and be like, I want that, but everywhere.
Yeah. Weather manipulation for me, you know, I live in the South. I'm from the North.
He said, I want my personal air conditioning.
Right. I want snow. I want a nice cool breeze when it's hot out. Maybe some clouds, you know. I don't want to go to work. Boom, tornado.
That's wild. He said level the whole city.
You know, I really don't see any other use. I mean, it's just very useful. Whatever you want when you want it.
All right, we'll mark Malik down as supervillain.
He'll be the only house in the neighborhood with a constant foot of snow in the front yard. Always has a snowman year round.
Of course, it's just in my yard.
That's crazy. The government's
My
definitely
plot of
coming
land,
after you.
as soon as you step onto my plot that I own, it's just 0 degrees.
It's like a Minecraft chunk. His property line is just snow.
It's a tundra biome. Dude's gonna cause global warming. He really is a supervillain.
Like, honestly, this dude.
You gotta
He's like,
do what
I don't
you
want to
gotta
go
do.
to work today. Snow day. It's like July in Georgia. Like, come
Fucking
on, dude.
drops a blizzard. All the animals are freaking the fuck out.
Destroys
But
the entire like orange crop for the whole South.
Yeah,
freezes
just
One
all
foul
of them.
swoop.
destroy Florida.
Oh my god.
Just deletes the whole state with a hurricane.
But let me also just say, on the topic of the Green Lantern as well. I mean, having a ring that can turn into anything, I think that might be. This whole time that we've been planning this episode, I've been thinking weather manipulation. But
Okay.
today, for some reason, I just being able to create anything with a ring on your finger, a hammer, beam of light, you know, a shield even. I think
I
that's...
mean, can you just make? You can make a big hand too, right? So you can just be like, oh man, I gotta go like grab something from the kitchen, and then like.
Right. Well, what do they call that in D&D? Like the magic
Yeah, I
hand or
think it's
something
just
like that?
magic hand. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would be a D&D character at that point.
I think it's a better ability. I think weather manipulation's cool, but it is inherently just like a villain's power to me.
Yeah,
Storm's the only good one.
that's true. Well, is there anybody else that has weather manipulation as a power?
I don't know how comic book accurate it is, but in the newer X-Men series, the first one, it's like X-Men First Class, I think. One of the villains makes tornadoes. So, villain power immediately.
Yeah.
The other like weather manipulation person that comes to mind is the ant in Encanto, where it's just like mimics her emotions, so she gets depressed and it's just raining all the time.
She's stressing out and then she has her own personal rain cloud.
Honestly, like, I don't know. It seems like a kind of it's a cool ability for sure. It's unique, but like, it feels like it'd be a hassle a lot of the time. But it's about to be like my perfect weather whenever I want it. It's a very like self-absorbed power, I guess. Like, even as a superhero, to use it responsibly is very difficult. Speaking of powers that feel like inherently evil, mind control. It's cool, but like that is a villain ability, hands down.
I would say that. I thought of like a good thing Malik could do with his weather manipulation. When California was burning down, he could have caused a hurricane.
You can't
Yeah.
just make it rain. You don't have to add wind.
Right.
That's true. They already had the wind, so he could have made it rain.
Yeah,
I've already, you know,
he's converted.
locked in on my villain era. I'm just a villain now. Even with my Green Lantern power, I'm Sinestro. Is that who he is? What's the...
All right. Another Ryan Reynolds superhero. Man really just loves superhero movies. Yeah, I think that is actually a better ability. But my question is, would you rather have shape-shifting, where you can just be like giant hands or rock arms, or like instead of like I need to make an energy shield from my ring, just
Become
like
a shield.
Groot, have a giant shield grow out of your arm.
Yeah. I don't know. Because from what I'm reading right now, the constructs from the ring are only as powerful as the wearer's willpower. So you got to have
You get depression and you lose your superpower.
exactly
Yeah.
one bad day and then you're just dead.
That's
So,
crazy.
I don't know. That's really hard to really, because I don't know if I'd want to be able to just turn into a rock. Or
I mean,
you know,
you could probably do other things. And I would say shape-shifting would also include, like, turn into animals. So you could just be like,
Right.
I'm a falcon, I'm flying away now.
Yeah,
Like,
so
I'm
then-
giving you both halves of the shape-shifting ability.
Which brings the question, and this is a very good episode for our viewers because you can answer all the questions. Would shape-shifting be the ultimate superpower? Because you can fly, you can swim, you could...
That's true. You can breathe underwater. Just
yeah.
turn into a fish.
Right. So shape-shifting might be the ultimate superpower. You have all of them together minus
It's pretty
stuff like teleportation or invisibility because nobody can do that. But
Yeah,
unless
but
you
you're,
turn into a
like,
mirror.
you're pretty good because, like, resilience, you can just be like, I'm a tardigrade now. Like, I can survive the vacuum of space. I don't dry out. I can
Right.
take super high heat and super cold weather. Like, it's kind of overpowered that way for sure. If you're like, I gotta run fast, turn into a cheetah, like, I don't know, that's weird. But also, that was my go-to. Like, as a kid, I thought Beast Boy was the coolest.
Yeah.
Like, I want to mess somebody up and I just turn into a T-Rex. Like, absolutely.
Right.
There's like a hero in my youngin' show who can turn into like dinosaurs. He's from Marvel.
Is it, what's it?
Reptile.
Dino Girl?
It's Reptile. He's like he's been in a couple of different shows, but he's pretty cool. I like him. He's a cool character. Being able to turn into like all the dinosaurs at any given point. I've only seen him in like Spidey and Friends, but like
Another good series to watch with if you've got a young one, Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is very cool. I played Marvel Snap for a little bit. Me and a bunch of guys at work got really into it, and there was a really good build with Devil Dinosaur and Moon Girl, and then they came out with the series, and I'm like, dang, this is kind of cool. Like, would recommend.
if he would be a cool hero. Apparently, he's actually in an Avengers comic. Reptile was.
I'll have to look this man up. Reptile. I mean, honestly, superhero names is a whole thing I hadn't considered. We got to come up with superhero names at some point.
I have no idea what my name would be. I don't even know what my superpower would be. I'm just running
You're
around.
indecisive.
Yeah.
I
Indecisive
was
man.
too. I was very adamant about super speed or time manipulation, but then you hit me with just do them all.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of think do them all is a good answer.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I think it depends on your like the level of superheroes. Because if I'm the only one in the world, like, I don't know if you guys have watched the movie Jumper, where like
I've heard of it.
the dude can teleport, and there's like a couple other people who have the ability, but like I think it's Samuel L. Jackson's the main villain. You get hunted down, and they like tether you to the ground with these cool sci-fi tethers, and so you can't teleport anymore. And like, it's a really good movie, but like, if you're the only one with a superpower, 100% getting hunted down and experimented on. And if I'm turning into a cheetah, people are gonna notice. Be like, show up to work and there's just like a cheetah running through Wisconsin. Like, they're gonna know.
Yeah, but how will they know it's you?
That's
Like-
what I was about to say. Someone's
I
gonna
gotta
come
hide
up
in
to
a
you.
bush and turn into a fly. Like,
I mean, that's
sneak
what
into the
Superman
building.
does. He goes into the little,
Phone booth.
well, yeah, the phone booth, and all of a sudden he's Superman. So there's,
I don't know. With cameras being everywhere, it's hard to truly be out of sight.
You're gonna have
how-
a coworker. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
You're gonna have a coworker that's gonna like look at you, show you a video, be like, "You see this cheetah going through Wisconsin? It looks so much like you."
Yeah, just facial features are still there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I
don't
don't
think that would
really
happen.
watch superhero movies at all. I'm a fan of them. I play Marvel Rivals. I do this, blah, blah, blah. So I haven't seen any of the modern ones. This is just a very random question, but how does Superman transform in these modern movies? Is he still doing the phone booth thing? Because they don't exist no more.
They're trying to do a whole new Superman, like rebirth. So that might be to be determined. But like
Yeah.
with most of the Marvel movies these days, the general public kind of knows who's heroes. It's weird how it works. Like most of the general public kind of knows about Thor because he was part of the Avengers, which is strange because he's a literal god from a whole different dimension. Nobody freaked out about it though. Well, they did at first, but then he became an Avenger and it was like whatever. And like I feel like most of the public knows who's heroes in like the more modern stuff. I think they
Yeah.
did away with trying to be like hide from the public. They did it with Spider-Man a little bit, but Spider-Man was a teenage kid in high school.
He's
If-
still in his newer movies. Like, there's scenes of him like web shooting a backpack full of his clothes to the wall in an alley as
Yeah.
he, like switches out. So like he's still very much like cloak and dagger trying to hide his identity, and like spoilers for the newish Spider-Man movie that came out, like he wiped his memory from everybody. Nobody knows who Spider-Man is anymore. So like a big part of his character development is his hidden identity still.
It made me sob when that happened.
I know, but it was
Oh.
so good.
He
Honestly,
goes
that
up.
movie is my favorite MCU movie because it brings back all three of the Spider-Man. It's got all the good villains. Like, loved it.
Spider-Man.
I thought they were gonna kill Tobey Maguire, and I cried.
I always kind of shit on Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Wasn't a fan of him. I thought he was too much of a pretty boy to like be Spider-Man. But dude, as like a personal level, as like a human not being Spider-Man, he's gone through so much bad shit. He would absolutely fit the role of Spider-Man. And I was like, it's crazy. Anyone that's played Spider-Man either fits the role perfectly or has something that would characterize them similar to Spider-Man.
Yeah, I like Tobey Maguire's Peter Parker. I like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, and I think Tom Holland is the best of both. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a good all-around Spider-Man. But the Amazing Spider-Man movies, I'm really upset didn't get a trilogy. Because, like, that third movie I think would have been really good. Even though they killed Emma Stone, who is, like, my love. Emma
Cutting that or keeping it in?
No, I'm good. We're allowed to have celebrity crushes.
That's true.
I don't know. I just every single movie she does. Although I didn't see Poor Things because it didn't seem my cup of tea. But like, love her movies. Also, please give Peter a love interest that like doesn't get her mind wiped or die or like is terrible to him.
It's all a canon event, though.
I know. And speaking of canon events, the animated Spider-Man movies are amazing as well. Spider-Man isn't my favorite, like, superhero, but his movies are the best movies, objectively.
They put so much work into it. You can like when I was watching like the MCU timeline completely through, you can genuinely tell how much more money was funneled into the Spider-Man films as opposed to some of the other ones. Like even the first Avengers, like the first time they brought Spider-Man in, there was a clear distinction of just quality increase. Just because Spider-Man that's my thought. I think Spider-Man, like, you go through the toy aisles. Well, I'll go through the toy aisles with my youngin' and such. There is so many more Spider-Man toys or Spider-Man affiliated toys than any other superhero in the toy aisle. Like, they have a whole section dedicated pretty much to Spider-Man and Spider-Man affiliated toys. They have a small section where it's like Batman and Superman, but Spider-Man is taken over, bro. So many
That's
little
true.
boys look up to him. Ashley and I were talking about that the other day, where like we constantly see little boys dressing up as Spider-Man. Like
Yeah,
we have
he's
so
a
many
classic, for
friends
sure.
that like their youngins have had birthday parties and their little boys, and it's Spider-Man themed. Completely Spider-Man themed. It's pretty cool.
And I like it, like, my oldest, well, he's not my oldest brother, but my older brother has always been a huge Spider-Man fan. Like, when the first trilogy came out, loved it. Like, it was all over the house. We bought all the movies. We had action figures. We had all that kind of stuff. Outside of that, I think it's a great superhero. And, like, you can even watch Stan Lee talk about it. But, like, there can be anyone behind the mask. Like, he is truly the neighborhood Spider-Man. It can be a guy, it could be a girl, person of color, whatever. And, like, now with Miles Morales and, like, Spider-Gwen, you're really starting to see that. And, like, it truly is the epitome of an everybody's superhero. It's just some kid doing what's right. And, you know, like, Superman's cool and all, but, like, he's kind of got a chip on his shoulder because he's, like, the strongest person and just chooses not to kill everybody. But, like, the internal struggles of the neighborhood Spider-Man is just so good.
You mentioned the Stan subject with Spider-Man. We almost didn't even get Spider-Man. They told him at first that it was a stupid concept, that they didn't want to do it. But I think Stan, like, secret reissued it out. Like, he did it anyways. Just dropped one comic. People ate it up so much that guy called him in and said, "What was that thing you were talking about? The spider thing? We got to do more of it." So it's cool. We went from superheroes to now it's a Spider-Man podcast. We love Spider-Man.
I mean, that's fine. We were talking about our favorite superheroes. It's in there. It fits.
Love him. He's such a well-rounded, good guy. I wish he was easier in Marvel Rivals. I hate the fact that he's a throw pick, bro. I want to play him so bad, but he's so hard to get good with. But love him. I love his, like, wittiness. I love the goofiness of his character. I'm interested to see where they take him in the next MCU films, because technically now he's not remembered. Supposedly they want to make him.
Contract is too. Tom Holland might actually be done. I don't know if they're doing more.
I think I saw something a couple months ago where he's going to do another one, but I don't know how they're going to do it because they reduced him down to a street level hero rather than a global hero.
Which is good. Yeah. I hope that was one of my criticisms with the MCU Spider-Man, is that he's like talking with the other ones in No Way Home. He's like, "I've fought aliens and I've been to space and blah, blah, blah." And the other two are like, "Dude, what? Like, that is not our level of threat." And, like, I loved Daredevil, and I remember an early, I want to say it was like a DVD, it might have been a VHS, but probably a DVD, like 2001, where it's an animated film of Daredevil and Spider-Man just fighting street-level crime. It's so good. Probably looking at it with rose-tinted glasses, but, you know.
I'm very excited to see where they take him. I feel like it's not going to be the end of Tom Holland's universe as Spider-Man fighting alien-level threats. I'm sure he'll be back to doing that at some point, but I'm interested to see how they're going to incorporate some of the street levels. I heard that the next Spider-Man they're going to do is going to be like him fighting Kingpin. So,
dude,
if they do that, it'll be Daredevil and Spider-Man for sure.
I was just going to say, they did the Hawkeye series, where they brought in Kate Bishop, and it was a pretty decent series, but they kind of nerfed Kingpin a little bit in that one, and, like, they need to do more with Kingpin. He's a great villain. Hawkeye fights him, Spider-Man fights him, Daredevil fights him. Like, he's not an Avengers level threat. Obviously, he's not going to be the next Thanos, but they could use him to bridge so much good content, because they did the Echo series, which only had a few episodes. It was like 4 or 6 episodes. It wasn't a lot. And it was okay. But, like, he's a big part of that storyline, too. So, like, they really need to do more. And the actor, what's his name? Vincent D'Onofrio, I think.
I don't know actor names.
Don't fact check me on that. He's a fantastic actor.
I know that in one of the
Vincent D'Onofrio. But he's in Full Metal Jacket. He's in The Magnificent Seven. He's in Men in Black. Like, he's a very well-rounded actor, and he's getting kind of old. I don't know if they want to sign on someone so old for Kingpin, but like he has done a fantastic job.
I know in one of the newer Spider-Man films, they actually do introduce Daredevil and Spider-Man. They're not in like character, like, well, superhero form. They're just general people in that scenario. But I remember he's like, well, this is kind of messed up. And he's like, well, what do I do? And he's like, well, you're going to need a lawyer. And he's like, well, you want to be my lawyer?
And they hint at the Daredevil abilities because like a stone or something gets thrown through the window and he catches it. Which there's a fun fact where originally it was going to be a snow globe, and then they changed it to a brick. But if you watch the hand shape for the object he catches, it's still rounded. So like there's like still a little hint of it in the original movie or like the final product. But yeah, I want to see the flip of it. Put Tom Holland in the new Daredevil series, please. I beg you.
It would be so cool because like they only hinted at it.
Disney's got the money. Come on, please.
Tom Holland doesn't know that guy's Daredevil. They only just hinted at it. But now this guy's not going to know that he's Spider-Man or anything remotely close to Spider-Man. So now, how are they going to introduce each other? Are they just going to fall into like the same alley fighting, chasing people, and then all of a sudden it's like, who are you? And it's the Spider-Man meme where Daredevil and Spider-Man are pointing at each other?
Well, so 2 topics off of that. One, Daredevil pops up in She-Hulk too, so like they're already starting to merge people into different series. Do it, please. Second, the abilities of Daredevil and Spider-Man are so close that they will help a brother out and they'll wear the other person's costume to alleviate suspicions of like, oh, Peter Parker is obviously Spider-Man because we never see them at the same place at the same time. So Daredevil will wear Spider-Man's costume and they will be at the same place at the same time. It's like they are the ultimate buddies, like bros. Like
it makes total sense because Tom Holland doesn't have like the webs in his body. They had a whole conversation about that. He's like, I have it on my wrist. I got this thing on my wrist and it shoots it out. And Toby's like, well, it just kind of comes out of me. And like that's gonna be so cool how they do that if they do that.
Yeah, like Disney, put me on as a writer, please. I'm so excited about this.
Sign the 3 Ps on. We got you. We'll be your next director.
3 Ps in the multiverse. Let's go.
Real. That's the title right there, baby.
I don't know. I think there's a lot of potential, and I don't want to get overexcited, but I really hope the MCU does something right, because they had a little lull there for like 3 or 4 years where they were just trying to push mass amounts of content to get it out on Disney+, but the quality wasn't there.
It was COVID,
I think they've let it cook a little bit. They've done the merger with Hulu, so they have a large catalog of content. Bring back the quality, please.
We need more movies. We don't need all these TV shows.
Yeah, and I think they've kind of taken that time justly. Like they're learning from their mistakes, and I think they're trying to plan things out a little bit better. Because they were also supposed to do like the multiverse saga, and it was going to be focused around Kang. And then I think that actor like got arrested, and they're kind of trying to drop him on the side. So like, there's a lot of problems with the MCU right now, but I don't know. I don't want this to be an MCU episode, but it's great. Love it. If you're interested, check them all out. Love it.
But DC ain't got much going on, so it might have to be an MCU episode because they ain't dropped any bangers recently.
Well, there's the new Superman stuff, and like they just brought in what's his name? Edward Cullen, the vampire dude.
Not James. His last name
James
is
Franco's
Pattinson.
the new Batman.
Yeah, James Franco. Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert Pattinson. Love him as an actor. He did The Lighthouse. He's done a lot of good things. There's actually, speaking of Tom Holland again, good segue between the two universes. There's a movie with both of them in it, and it's definitely not kid-friendly, but it's a very good movie. And like I think Edward Cullen is not Edward Cullen. Robert Pattinson is a good actor, and I think his time as Edward Cullen kind of got him out to the general public, but stunted his catalog of what he could do. He got typecast a little bit, and it held him back. But I think he's really going to do well now that he's going to be the Batman. I don't know if they're going to make more of Batman movies with him. The first one was a way different kind of movie. It was good, but like we'll see how they do, because they keep, like, the MCU I think is successful because they pick an actor and that's that character for that time. DC is very, like, the comics are written that way too. Like, my favorite Nightwing is Dick Grayson, but there's like 7 versions of Nightwing.
Yeah.
And like, that's just how the MCU is. It's a lot more of a alias does not equal person, and the casting I think reflects that a lot in the DC stuff, but that's not how the general public, like, for the casual viewer, they're not going to know those are the same characters. Like, everyone knows who Wolverine is because it has been the same actor for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If they ever try to stave off, which they tried to, because he was like, I'm getting old, I don't want to do this anymore. And then they decided, we're going to do old Logan.
Yeah.
So he still had to be an old man ripped. So
Well, and,
Hugh
like,
Jackman won't get away.
MCU has done it a little bit. Like, there's the X-Men reboots where they have younger actors because Charles Xavier and Magneto were so old that they had to bring in younger actors. But, like, Wolverine's still Hugh Jackman. Like, it's the same. Always.
They just give him like a face sculpting to make him look a little younger in those scenes.
Yeah, there is actually a scene where, like, young Logan meets old Logan, and it's just him with a CG filter, and I think they fight. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen the X-Men movies, but maybe I'll go through and rewatch them because they're good.
They're about to become super relevant soon. Might have
we'll
to.
see. We'll see. I think they're kind of pivoting away from the Kang stuff, and they're trying to do the multiverse more through, like, She-Hulk and Daredevil and that kind of stuff, because Kang may or may not be getting dropped. Which is fine, because I don't think Kang the Conqueror is that interesting of a character. Like, the Loki series was very good, and it was definitely setting up the MCU, but, like, I don't know. Leave the series to DC, leave the movies to Marvel. Except Daredevil series, that was great.
He said, except the one I really, really like.
Well, on the topic of DC, I haven't been heard much in this episode. I don't really care for superheroes. I'm not a superhero guy, but when it comes to DC, you can see me there and ready to watch. We do have a couple movies coming out in the new DC universe by James Gunn. Obviously, we talked about the new the new Superman film coming out later this year, I think. That sounds right. But we're also going to be getting a Supergirl film, a Clayface film, a Swamp Thing film, and they also have a planned Teen Titans film, which doesn't have a name yet. So we're going to be getting a couple things coming in the next couple of years from, this is what they plan at least, from the DC universe. Then we also have a couple TV shows that they're working on, which one that I'm excited for is called Lanterns, which seems to be a whole series about the Lanterns Corp. So we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah, I really hope they do more with the lanterns, because I know there's like 7 or so different colors of, like, emotions and rings, because, like, they hint at it in the one Green Lantern movie. I think they show the yellow lanterns as, like, being the villains, but, like, there's a pink lantern corps, and, like, there's all kinds of different stuff, and I really think it would be interesting to explore it, because it's different aliens, different superpowers. Like, it could be good.
Right.
It could be a whole, like, series of movies in and of themselves without any problem.
So, from reading this while you were saying that, the Lantern series that they're working on is going to feature Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart, which I think are, like, the most known. I think Hal Jordan was the first Green Lantern movie, and I think now we're getting a Jon Stewart series with a new guy.
The host of The Daily Show has a ring?
Jon Stewart is actually my Green Lantern, the only, to my knowledge, African-American Green Lantern. But they're going to be investigating mysteries on Earth in a series in the style of True Detective, which is pretty interesting, yeah. So I thought I would throw that there.
Yeah, that would be good. I don't feel like that's a market that's really been capitalized on too much. Like, they should, because even Batman is supposed to be more like a detective-y, and he's got the Riddler as a villain, so, like, you think there would be more detective-type stories, but, like,
Right.
I don't think the MCU touches that at all, even.
DC, call us up.
DC, hurry up. Fill the market, but don't flood the market, because that's what they do. They're like, this is something we should do, and then they release, like, 6 of the same thing, and people stop caring. Which is why I think people got bored of the MCU, because they made, like, 3 of the same series and 4 of the same movie, and people were like, okay, I'm bored. Because, like, I liked the Captain America and the White Wolf series that came out, where it's, like, Bucky and the Falcon transitioning in, like, their next story. Loved that series. Echo series was pretty good. The Hawkeye series was pretty good. But each one of those was, like, the neighborhood level, we fight a terrorist organization for 6 episodes and then reveal that the story kind of went nowhere. And it's really the bad guys around us the whole time. And it's like, okay. Like, you made the same series 3 times. It really wasn't anything special. And, like, right. I don't remember anything from any of them because they were all kind of the same template in a different font with a different character.
Yeah.
And I really was hoping for more, especially out of the Bucky Barnes stuff, because, like, they transition for, like, it's the Falcon becoming Captain America and the Winter Soldier becoming the White Wolf. And, like, there really should have been more of a transition there. And the ending title card is, like, he's Captain America now, but it's still the Winter Soldier. It's like, he went on a whole arc. He's got a new name with the White Wolf. Please, just give him that recognition, too. And, like, they're not going to do a second season to give him that recognition. So, like, you just kind of left my boy hanging, even though he had a whole character development arc in this series. So, like, they definitely could have done better with those series. And they hired the original actors. Like, it is Sebastian Stan in it. Just do it. Just commit. And, like, the MCU had a bunch of standalone movies that just kind of went nowhere. Like, Shang-Chi was good. Eternals was okay. But, like, they don't integrate into the broader series at all. There's, like, one throwaway joke with the new Sorcerer Supreme. Not Doctor Strange, but the other guy. In Daredevil. And, like, that's... Or it's not even in Daredevil. It's in She-Hulk. Excuse me. And so, like, it's kind of a throwaway thing, but I don't know. They're fumbling the bag on the MCU. I'm ready for the DC to start putting some pressure on them to make it better.
Let them get cooking. Let them get cooking. We need some cooking in the kitchen.
Well, I, for one, think this was a wonderful conversation. We started out talking about superpowers, and for the next 40 minutes, you guys talked about your favorite Marvel films, and I love it. Thank you guys for teaching me about Marvel. I really want to get into Marvel. It is a plan of mine to watch the films. I've watched some of the older films before it became this huge thing that everybody loved. I've seen the original Spider-Mans. I've seen the first Fantastic Fours. I've seen what's the other one? There was another one. I haven't seen any of the Iron Man films, but now all of a sudden, it's like, you're not cool unless you watch the Avengers and all this.
Yeah. And I think that's what holds the MCU back, especially now with, like, they're like, oh yeah, by the way, the Blade trilogy and the X-Men stuff and this and that. And, like, they're trying to pull in the older stuff, which is cool. I love it as a fan who watched them as they were coming out. But right. You can't be like, hey, general audience, watch these 40 movies.
Right.
Like, I was trying to get my girlfriend into it, and, like, absolutely not. There's no way you can be like, hey, honey, casually sit down and watch 45 movies and 17 series with me. It just ain't gonna happen.
So, yeah. I would love to eventually check them all out. And I probably will, but not anytime soon.
That's valid, honestly. Like I said, I was going to go back and rewatch the X-Men series, because, like, I remember the 3 from my childhood, and then there's, like, 3 or 4 that came out in, like, 2010s era. I didn't watch most of those, or some of them, or I remember parts of them, and I keep getting them in, like, my YouTube shorts. So, like, I remember some of the shorts that pop up, and other ones I'm like, I don't remember this movie at all. So I want to go back and rewatch those, or maybe actually watch those, because I don't know that I've seen all of them. But like, it's just, even for someone who is a fan and like has made an effort to watch everything, there's just too much. There's so much, and I can't imagine trying to read the comics on top of it. Like, it's ridiculous trying to go back and read 70 years worth of comic books for the Marvel or the DC universe, either one. Like, it's ridiculous. Because you'll have people writing multiple series for the same character, too. Like, you could have an Avengers comic book series and a Spider-Man comic book series, or multiple Spider-Man comic book series writing at the same time. Yeah. And it's like, it's just too much. So I understand why people aren't interested, because it could even be, like, different universes for the same, like...
You think you're reading the right thing, but all of a sudden it's actually something that has nothing to do with the movie that you were supposed to be watching or reading about.
Yeah.
So...
It's good, but it isn't intimidating.
Yeah. It's very... You gotta research, you gotta know exactly what you're looking for. Because if I was just to go pick up a Spider-Man comic, I'm sure it wouldn't be, you know... exactly what I'm supposed to.
Well, and some of them are like good ones and there's bad ones. That's true for like any media, and I wouldn't know the difference, because it's like this one's the Spider-Man and this one's the Amazing Spider-Man and this is the Spectacular Spider-Man or whatever, and I'm like, dude, come on, we got to come up with a better naming convention. But that's why I haven't gotten into comics. Like, comic book shops are intimidating, and like they have a stigma with them still, but the MCU kind of made films more accessible. Watch MCU stuff, get hyped for DCU stuff, and shapeshifting is the best superhero ability.
Okay. Well, I will say, sure, watch MCU stuff. Obviously get hyped for DC stuff. We've got a lot coming. We've got video games, we've got TV shows, movies. Wonder Woman video game coming out, not announced yet, but it's in the works. You don't know when it's happening, but and weather manipulation, cool, but we like the Green Lantern ring. That's what we like.
I like money.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out today. It's been real. And we are the 3 Ps in a podcast. See y'all later.